Anthony Lionheart Smith and Roman Dolidze will square off this weekend in a light heavyweight bout that has gone through a lot of changes at UFC 303. Stick around to hear my thoughts and official prediction for Smith versus Dolidze. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. Okay, guys, so the fight that was originally Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree then became Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg, and then that became Carlos Ulberg versus Anthony Smith, and then that became the fight that we have now, Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. So, Roman Dolidze is coming off of a loss to Nasruddin Imavov in the Apex in a Fight Night main event, and Anthony Smith is coming off of a guillotine submission win over Vitor Petrino at UFC 301. Now, this fight is strictly to add name value to the card, the same as Andre Fili and Cub Swanson, because you have so many prospects on the card, as they usually do with Conor McGregor cards. And given that this was originally a Conor card, you have people like Peyton Talbot on the card, Ray Saruya, who was a Road to the UFC alumni. They stack the card with low-paid, highly touted prospects because they're usually on their first or second contract, so they're not getting paid that much, which makes sense to put them on the card given that Conor has such a big purse that would take up most of the budget for that card. And then you also have the fact that Conor being the main event brings a lot of eyes to the card and allows them to push their prospects in front of a bigger audience. Now, this fight, it's crazy how much this has changed, but I do have to give props to Hunter Campbell and the UFC for the way that they still stick with fights. I mean, honestly, after two pullouts, a lot of people that would be running an MMA promotion would just be like, okay, forget it. We'll put something else on the card, or we'll just scrap this fight altogether. But they stuck with it, and we still have a pretty good fight. It's not the Khalil Roundtree and Jamal Hill that we were expecting. It's not Ulberg and Smith or Ulberg and Hill, something that really affects the rankings at 205. This one is kind of just for the name value. Roman Dolidze is a middleweight. He lives in Vegas. He trains at Extreme Couture. Doesn't have to cut down to 185. It makes sense that they just threw him a bag to hop into this fight. Anthony Smith is not necessarily the most dangerous person in the world. It's not like Roman Dolidze is stepping up against Jiri or Alex Pereira. But this fight is also a contingency fight for the main event. If one of the two guys in the main event, Jiri or Alex Pereira, pulls out, Anthony Smith's going to get a title shot, and that's crazy. And with that said, I still feel like delusional Anthony Smith is going to call for a title shot after winning, after beating an unranked prospect in Vitor Petrino, and then beating a middleweight that's on like 8 days notice. So look out for that. I'm telling you, Anthony Smith is going to call for a title shot. And yeah, that's crazy. But Roman Dolidze, it'd also be super funny if Roman Dolidze comes up as a middleweight on 8 days notice and absolutely smokes a 205er. That's what I really want to see. But also, maybe Anthony Smith gets a win, fights Alex Pereira before Magomed Ankalaev, and we get to see them settle their beef. I'm telling you, it would sell. It would sell, even though it's obviously not deserved. Now, when we talk about the fight, Roman Dolidze is pretty lost on the feet, good grappler. And then Anthony Smith can do a little bit of both, but he does have some good grappling. He did just win by guillotine. I think that the size difference is going to make a big difference here in this fight. I think that Anthony Smith, being a natural 205er, Dolidze not preparing for a fight, and being a 185er, I think he's probably going to get muscled around a little bit by Anthony Smith. And I think Anthony Smith is going to have his way with Roman Dolidze, even though in terms of where they stand in the division, Roman Dolidze is a much more elite middleweight than Smith is elite light heavyweight. But with that said, I am going to take Anthony Smith. My official prediction is that Anthony Smith is going to win a grappling heavy 3-round decision, or he's going to get a TKO. Given to how bad Dolidze is on the feet, I could see him piecing up Dolidze on the feet and then following up after a knockdown and getting a TKO and then calling out Alex Pereira to fight sometime later this year. That'd be awesome if it happens, even though he doesn't deserve it. I just mean like the storyline would be fucking hilarious. So that's my official prediction for Dolidze versus Smith, is that Anthony Smith is either going to drop Dolidze, follow up with a ground and pound TKO, or he's going to outmuscle him and win a grappling heavy decision. So there's my thoughts on the feature match for UFC 303. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want extra content aside from my regular videos, make sure to become a channel member today to get access to members-only live streams and other bonus perks. Click the link in the description down below, or click the join button on our channel homepage. If you're interested in non-MMA content from me, make sure to check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World.